Guys, I'm coming. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's time for Monday Soul Deliciousness, and we are going to be chatting about the one and only karma. So hop on, give you a second to get notified that I'm live. You can say hello. Let me adjust all my stuff here, get all situated, get all comfy-weighted. Get all comfy situated. All right. Here we are, Monday, May 10th. Crazy sauce. It's getting close to summertime. Hopefully you guys have some fun things that you're doing here where I am in Utah. Hello, Amber. We are creeping up on, good evening, Lisa. I think we have four weeks of school left, which is crazy. So actually, no, we are at 3, I believe. 3 weeks of school left. Woo! Hi. Hello, Jan. I haven't seen your name forever. Hello, hello. Exciting to see you guys. Okay. We'll get started here in just a second. But yeah, school is coming to an end. So I have a kiddo that is going to be a senior next year. And then I have a kiddo that's going to be in first grade. So kind of a little gap there, just a little bit. But, and then the oldest one is turning 21. So bringing on more wrinkles and gray hair for his mama. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. We're talking about karma. And basically, we're talking about the law of karma, law of the universe. You probably have heard it referred to lots of stuff like this, law of attraction. So basically, this is all just how energy works as far as what we attract, what happens to us, and we don't get taught this. It's not like it's part of physics class where we get taught what goes up must come down. It's pretty easy to see how gravity works when you're a kid and you're running and you fall and it's painful. So we basically start bringing our life around, what we've been taught and what we learn naturally, but we kind of don't focus on any of these other things, which are universal laws of karma and things that if we really actually did focus on these and we taught about them in school, I'm telling you that I would have loved to have known all this way before I got into the later years of my life. It would have saved me from a lot of anguish. So let's talk about how it's important to understand how these laws work. If you want to have smooth sailing in life, then you really need to understand how the laws of energy and the laws of karma and the law of attraction and all that stuff works. So if you ever just watch someone and you're like, I've heard people say, they always fall in a pile of you-know-what and come out smelling like a rose. And if you ever just met some people like that, they just have that natural ability to draw that in. And so there are ways that you can go about this so that you can make this happen for yourself. Now, you see people do this all the time. I once worked with a realtor. She had this vision board, and she was one of the worst realtors that I've ever used. She lacked so much self-confidence that it's a wonder that she could sell a house. And so, you got to do more than just cut some things out of a magazine and throw them up on a wall, right? It takes some effort and it takes some understanding of how this works. Same with, in some of my previous videos, I tell you all about how to make sure that you're using your words right so that you're not self-sabotaging, because you can manifest all day long, but if you don't use the words correctly, then you're actually not manifesting anything. So the thing to always remember that with that one is manifesting in the now. If I say, I want this to happen when, I just created a caveat. That thing's never going to happen until this other thing happens. Like sometimes people do this with, oh, I'll be happy when I finish school. Okay, well, you just manifested in your subconscious and made it a absolute agreement with yourself that you cannot be happy until you graduate from school. So then you're going to be completely miserable until you graduate from school. The problem is, then once we graduate from school, what do? We replace that with something new. I'll be happy as soon as I get a job. So now I graduated from school, but I'm still not happy because now I'll be happy when I get a job. So understanding how you have to manifest in the now, I'm happy today. I'm happy now because, and even put in some cool stuff with gratification. I'm happy now today because I have this awesome office to sit in, whatever that is for you. All right, so let's talk about these. These are really super important in my line of work because I work with the law of energy and because I work around all the aspects of everything I'm about to tell you. And I will 100% also tell you that when I let myself slip and I start getting caught up in being angry or being irritated or feeling resent towards other people, then I start to lose my ability to receive intuition and to receive impressions. So I have to be really careful, but I am absolutely human and it absolutely happens. So when I start noticing that I'm doing this, I'm like, ooh, I got to reel it back in. And I got really bad at this. Openly admit, maybe the past 2 weeks, I have allowed myself to get into a little bit of a downhill slope with some not maybe so positive thoughts about people. And so I had to like rewind and be like, okay, I'm just going to bring that negative energy back from anyone that I've sent it out to. And I am going to allow that to just flow out and dissipate and disappear because I don't want to be affecting other people with my negative thoughts. And so let's talk about how or why we want to make sure that we're not doing that. So here we go. Now, traditionally speaking, and just like anything else, you can find like there's so many laws of karma, just like most traditional energies will say there's 7 chakras, when a lot of people that deep dive into energy healing will tell you there's actually more than 7 chakras. The 7 chakras are like basic chakras. So kind of the same thing goes with this. I'm going to tell you about these laws of the universe or laws of karma, because if you don't follow them, you will see things happen to you, even if you are doing some other things correctly. So it's a law, right? I can't be just sort of doing it right and not sort of doing it right. So you'll see as we go. But oh yes, I don't remember. I just lost my train of thought. So we're going to talk about these, and you'll see how these play a really important. Oh, I know. I was going to say. So traditionally, I think there's like 13 as what most people that study this kind of stuff are going to tell you. There's 13 laws of karma, 13 universal laws, but of course you'll see different numbers everywhere. Some of them are really close together. So for all intents and purposes, I have combined a couple of them so that it's not quite so long. So here we go. First of all, and I capitalized the word all. So capital ALL, all your actions contribute to what you are and who you will be. All your actions, every little tiny thing that I do. I once got really irritated by a guy in Walmart because he was eating produce out of the produce section and and when I was like, what are you doing? Because you pay for that stuff. You pay for that stuff by weight. And I've actually posted this on my page before and gotten a lot of flack back from it about how I should be allowed to taste my produce. That's great, but I don't go through the chicken aisle and start tasting the chicken to make sure that it tastes great. So while I understand that, somebody somewhere has to pay for it because they paid for it by weight. But we're not going to go into that. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that think about all the little itty bitty tiny things that you do in life where we, try to be like, oh, we're not really hurting anyone. It's not really that big of a deal. Or like I remember once I came out of Lowe's and I had got a Sharpie. I bought a Sharpie And I was messing around with Tayson, and instead of putting it in the cart, I put the Sharpie in my pocket, and I accidentally left the store with it. I'm sure there are a lot of people that would be like, it's $1 Sharpie. Seriously, I went back in and paid for it. I've done that before at the grocery store. I accidentally took some mushrooms out in my cart that I didn't make it onto the onto the yeah, onto the thing to get paid for. And I took my mushrooms back in. It's just the way that it works. All your actions, not some of your actions, all of your actions contribute to what you are and what you will be. So try to remember that one, because you'll base your daily decisions off of it. And then you'll be like, ooh, it really is a bigger deal than probably, me just saying, oh, it's not that really that big of a deal. Even if we cut someone off in traffic, everything. So keeping that in the back of your head makes you very aware of how you're treating other people. And, I'm not the type of person that I'm very social. So I just be really cognizant that when I'm out in public, I don't allow my rage to get the best of me so that I'm ripping into people, because that's sort of my natural reaction to being out in public, where I just don't go out in public. Okay. Second one, conveyor belt. Yes, something. I'm like, the thing you put the groceries on. Your purpose here. Now, this is what I love about this. And if you're really big in like, hey, tell me what your background is, if you're traditional Christian, if you're an atheist, if you believe in just a higher energy, if you don't believe in anything outside of this, of your mortal existence, like I absolutely 100% totally respect that. You're never going to come to me and have me trying to tell you that this is how you should believe, because that's not how I roll. So I will even tell you these karmatic laws on how they can apply to you no matter what you believe in. So next one, your purpose here. Okay, so your purpose here is to evolve into your highest form. Now, for most of you, you're like, okay, and so if you happen to be a Christian and you have, very traditional Christian belief, what's the highest form for you, right? It's to be Christ-like. If you believe in a higher divine energy, your highest form is to become at that highest spiritual platform. So whatever that is, that's the second law, is that your purpose here is to evolve into your highest form. Seems legit, but how do you get there, right? Okay, next one. So learn lessons. You have to learn your lessons. Just like you're a little kid in school, you learn your lessons by two different ways. You can either learn the lessons through love and compassion, or what happens? You learn your lessons very painfully through consequence. So when we don't learn our lesson, what keeps happening to us? We get into a cycle, right? And we learn our consequence. We don't learn our lesson. We have a consequence. It's painful. Did we learn? Are we thriving in compassion and love? Are we vibing on that higher level? Okay, no. So then what's going to happen again? I'm going to do something dumb, and then I'm going to have a consequence, and then it's going to be painful again. And so at some point, you learn from your lesson, you stop doing the thing that's creating the pain for you, hopefully, because it is your choice and your choice alone to dwell in love or dwell in bitterness. I always think it's really interesting when I have someone who's trying to force their belief system on someone else, because I'm like, that's not how that works. So you should never be forcing anything on anyone else. That's their total belief system, and respect it. Doesn't mean you have to agree. Just be respectful. Okay, next one. What you give out, you receive back. That's more along the lines of, right? A lot of you know about the law of attraction. What you give out is what you receive back, what you are attracting. So the problem is, right, if I give out hate, then what do I attract back? Ooh, ugly, ugly hate. I was talking to someone today about entities, and I don't really super like the word entity, because entity is used as an overall for anything that is in what I would consider a spiritual form. The problem with the word entity is, to me, it seems really dark. And I truly believe that there are different forms that energies on the other side, spirits, whatever you want to call them, take on, right? We have beautiful spirit guides. We have our ancestors. We have people that are in on the other side helping you with this beautiful harmony. And then we have what we would call entities in energy healing. And someone said to me, well, that would freak me out if there was an energy in my house. And I said, okay, Totally understand that. You probably have energies in your house. You probably just can't see or feel them, which is fine. I just have the ability to a lot of times see or feel the energies in my house, but they're so common for me that I don't usually stop and be like, hey, whoa, who are you? Unless someone starts asking me a question or I start getting intuition or receiving things from these people or person, then I'll try to figure out who it is so that I can help whatever it is that they're doing. But, you know, I said to someone that you don't realize that when you are vibrating at these lower levels, so hatred, fear, that's how things can become attached to you. Because the person asked me, well, can anything attach to you? And I said, yes, but no. So think of them as like really hungry puppies. They want to be around food. And so just that's what they do. Negative energies eat off of negative vibrations. So if you are vibrating really high, I always joke with people, I'm like, I don't have negative energies in my house because I'm vibrating at this like sparkle state, and that's really not attractive to them and they do not like it. And also if you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, I know I have negative energies attached to me. They're really not difficult. You can contact me. You can set up an appointment. I can help you get rid of them. They can't be here without your permission. It's just that most people don't actually know how to ask them to leave. So anyways, but just remember that what you give out, what you receive back. So if you're giving out hate, you're attracting hate. If you're giving out mean, negative, nasty vibrational energy, that is the same thing that everything will come back to you. And so you got to give out love. You got to give out joy. And Jan, you have a great comment though. You have to do so with barriers, right? Because there are bad people not bad people. There are people that know how to manipulate, and you don't want to be taken advantage of. So I love your comment. Actually, I let everyone use me or it makes me feel guilty. So that's actually an underlying trapped emotion of some kind that's making you respond in that way. We call these trigger events. So like a trigger event for me, right, used to be if someone would talk about suicide, it would be a trigger event for me. So it would make me have a feeling of anxiety, of fear, of being left alone. And so you have something in your life, which we call a past agreement, that has happened to you that makes you feel guilty when you do not comply with what people want you to do. And so that's why we do energy healing, is because we want to tap into your subconscious and say, okay, you know, what's causing you guilt right now? And then we just figure out, okay, you know, maybe there's an event that I see that happened when you were 8 and la, la, la. And I'll tell you what the emotion is trapped with it. You may already know what it is. And then you release it. And then you don't feel guilty anymore when someone tries to use you, and you start building these beautiful boundaries so people can't do this to you anymore. And you can thrive at this beautiful high state. Okay, next one. I love this one. Good deeds are always carried over. Now, what does that mean? So if you are the type of person that believes in reincarnation, then you do really beautiful, good things in this life, and then they carry over with you. If you are on the traditional path of Christianity, then still same thing applies. The good deeds are what carry over, right? A lot of people believe there is some type of life in this next realm. And even for myself and the religion that I was raised in all my life, we were always taught the only thing we could take with us was our knowledge. And so same thing goes. Good deeds are always carried over again into this next realm for a higher vibration. Now, I don't know about you, but I would like to participate in, when I move on, being a realm of higher vibration in some of the things that I see in my line of work with people that are coming to me and I'm being contacted by family members on the other side. I will tell you that I really, truly believe that you can have some lower vibrating things that happen to you in this life that can make you get a little bit stuck with being able to move forward. So don't want to be carrying those things with you. Okay. Love this one too. Highest vibration comes from helping others with love and compassion. I'm going to emphasize on the end of love and compassion, because one of the things that in my community is really lacking here is we get told that we're supposed to help someone, and so we do it to check a box. That's not helping with love and compassion. That's doing something because someone told you to. So I will be honest that I get really irritated when I know that someone is only reaching out to me because they were told by someone that that's what they had to do. because you wouldn't have reached out to me any other time before. And I know for some people they're like, oh, well, they're at least reaching out and that's better than nothing. And I get that. I'm not saying that's wrong, just for me. So, try to do things because the highest vibration comes from you doing it on your own, helping other people without being asked. It's no different than like, when you're looking at your little kids and they're saying thank you without you telling them. Sure, my kid's going to say thank you if I'm like, hey, Tayson, tell Granny thank you. Then he's like, thank you. That's a lot different than if she does something and he says thank you to her on his own, right? Okay, we have to live in harmony to be on the path of enlightenment. We have to live in harmony to be on a path of enlightenment, unconditional love. That's a struggle, right? That's really hard, especially I would say over the past year, which is all the different things that are going on. We see so many people not being in love with each other, having empathy, not showing love, not showing compassion. So responding with empathy, love, and compassion are the only true way that you can evolve. And that one, I know, like for myself, is really difficult because honestly, people irritate me. And so I have to be really careful about that one. All right, that was actually 2 that I covered. So responding with empathy and love and compassion to evolve, and then living in harmony with that unconditional love. The next one is what you resist will be attracted to you. This one, I try to really drill into my clients' heads because I'm like, hey, I know this is crazy, but sometimes you just need to sit with yourself and breathe and feel everything that you're feeling and just let it come. And I know it feels like a massive explosion and maybe you're just going to start bawling uncontrollably. But if you continually resist it and you keep fighting it, then you will keep attracting it and you will keep attracting those feelings and you will keep living in this spot, right? We all hear people say, oh, I have a blow up moment, right? That's basically what's going on is you've resisted it for so long that now it just explodes. The problem with what we resist is that's what is actually attracted to you. So let me ask you this. If you are in pain and you're constantly thinking about your pain and you're like doing this in your head, why does my leg hurt? 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 I go to the doctor's office, nothing is found. Why is my leg hurting? Why is my leg hurting? I am amplifying the fact that my leg is hurting twofold. Number 1, because I'm questioning it and I'm resisting it. So I'm making it worse. But 2 is because I am manifesting to myself that my leg really hurts. And now I'm manifesting to myself that I went to a doctor's office and they couldn't find the issue. So now I'm affirming with my mind that I have an issue with my leg and it won't go away because nobody knows what's wrong with it. That's a really, really easy one to get stuck in. So what you resist will be attracted to you. And if you resist a specific situation, it will never leave. It will never leave. Okay. So got to stop doing that. All right. This last one. Energy flows in the direction of your attention. So be really careful with it. This one is the one that I get stuck into the very most because I will catch myself and I will be irritated with someone and I'll watch them being a total tool bag. And then I will feel as though I start getting that creeped in thought of, I just want something bad to happen to you because you deserve it because you're being a jerk face, right? And I have to stop myself because although I can sit and justify to my little peon head and be like, they deserve it because that's what they're doing. It's not the way that it works. We don't get to be in charge of the laws of energy or the laws of karma. And so unfortunately, if I wish ill upon someone else, then I receive it back. So let's say that I'm like, Susie is really pissing me off at work and I really just want her to fall down the stairs. Okay, that's sending that negative vibration. So whether you believe it or not, when we specifically target something with an energy, the way that it works is that thing has to align with the energy that we are sending. Sounds really cool because you can use it to your advantage and that's how you attract abundance. But if you're doing this to affect someone else negatively, So, maybe something does happen to her. She may not fall down the stairs, but maybe she goes home and her refrigerator blows up. Okay. The problem is that now, because that negative energy that you sent has basically affected her, law of karma has that negative energy that's going to come right back at you. And doesn't mean that you're going to fall down the stairs or your refrigerator is going to break, but perhaps, something happens. Your dog gets ran over. Your husband loses his job. Whatever it is, you're going to receive it back. So it's really important to catch ourselves and not have ill feelings on people. Now we're sitting around and we're gossiping. What do you think happens when there's 5 of you sitting around and you're talking poorly about someone else and you're engaging in behaviors like that? All 5 of you sending this big cluster of energy towards a person. It's going to come back at you. So just be mindful. Just be mindful. Besides of the fact that, I always had somebody say to me, they were like, at one point somebody said something like, I think somebody was talking poorly about someone else. And I actually said, I don't really want to participate in this conversation. I don't want to talk poorly about them. And they said, it's not like they can hear you, and I was like, okay, but here's the problem is that energy does come back, but let me tell you an example about something that happened to me. So after my first husband took his life, there were so many things being said all around my community. Well, how do you think those were getting spread, right? People were talking. I was hearing it from so many sources. I had so many people telling me so-and-so saying this and so-and-so saying this. And so it literally was that game that you played back in elementary school where the teacher puts you in a circle and she whispers in one kid's ear, I love brownies. And it goes all the way around a circle. And by the time it gets to the very last kid, the thing is, I like to mow the lawn on Mondays. And everybody in the class is like, what? That's not even close to that, right? Because every person heard a little differently. But that's what was going on. I had people that were telling other people that I had murdered my husband. I still have family members on my husband's side of the family that believe that there was some kind of hidden conspiracy thing going on. When in reality, the ugliness of it was, and I wish that I knew now what I wish I knew then what I know now, because I didn't understand healing and energy. But my husband had gotten to a horrible depressive state. And when you get that really far gone and you're vibrating on that really low level, you do have the ability for lots of negative energies to attach to you. And I truly believe when someone takes their life, they are absolutely not themselves anymore. They have had energies taking over. They are not mentally cognizant anymore. Their subconscious and their cognitive mind are not functioning correctly anymore. And they are unaware of even what they are doing. So, yeah, but people were like, oh, there was a conspiracy. She murdered him, yada, yada, yada. And this followed me around. I remember when I first met Dave, my sister-in-laws, were doing this and talking. When I first met the family, everything was great. And then they started chatting, and I mean, it's devastating. And so people can sit back and be like, oh, well, nobody heard us. It's not that big of a deal. I ended up having to take my kids out of school because guess what happens when you're sitting around at home chatting about stuff? Children in your house hear you, and then those kids go to school and they talk about it. And so my kids were being shunned, and your mom is a murderer, and la, 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 right? And it doesn't make any sense to me because it's like, people, when something like this happens, there's an investigation. And no, right? I was at the grocery store when this happened. So, anywho, don't be that person. Okay. So basically, the underlying thing here is you can attract abundance or you can attract misery. And it's completely your choice, but you have to be thinking about all this stuff that I just said, because it all comes compiling into one massive ball, right? I can't just go throughout my day, right? We always call these people the Sunday, the goes to church on Sunday, doesn't do any of that stuff on the weekdays people. You can't just partially do it, because it doesn't work like that. It's focusing on all of these every day. And it does take work. It does. It's completely against your human nature. Our human nature sets us up for complete failure when it comes to this. But I can't pretend that I am being kind to people either. I can't, because the universe knows. It knows that you're not being 100% heartfelt when you do something. And that's why people can't get away with doing things when they're not being genuine. Sure, on the outside, maybe it looks like they are. And it irritates those of us, right, that are really authentic, because we're watching it happen. And then I am really bad at it. I like to call people out. And realistically, that's not really the best way to go about stuff. And in reality, this past week, like, I've really drawn myself back, and I'm like, whoa, I'm really getting into my spot where I'm calling people out, and I need to take a step back. Unless they're doing something like molesting kids, being a pedophile, physically harming somebody. If they're just being a dishonest person that's, a bag of, really, I'm just going to step back and let you bury, dig that grave yourself. That's what karma is for. But you can't get in the way and start trying to initiate it yourself, because the problem is, right, when I start trying to send karma energy to someone by having a bad thought of, ooh, I want you to fall down, that karma energy comes back to me. So how do I do this? Because I am very much the type of person that wants to get revenge. That's just my human nature. Of course, I do energy healing. So I work on some stuff. I release some emotions that are trapped. They're making me want revenge so that I can deal with them healthy. But something that I do for myself, and I'm telling you right now, what you think and what you believe becomes a reality, no matter how silly it is. So I had someone once who was talking with me about shielding. So people that do energy or talk about energy shields. So you can manifest an energy shield around you. And the lady was like, that's not even real, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's not real. Your reality is your perception. So it doesn't matter. If I tell my subconscious, hey, I'm going to put a barrier around myself, and my barrier is going to be a mirror. And I'm going to allow any positive, beautiful, high vibrations can flow through my mirror. So I want you to think about one of those cool mirrors, like, on Alice in the Looking Glass, and she sticks her hand in it and it kind of like, right? Because she can walk into it. I want you to think about your mirror like that. So your mirror allows positive energy to go through it. But what happens, right? Like if a bad guy comes in the movie and they try to go through the mirror, right? They bang into it. That's how I want you to imagine your mirror. So positive, beautiful, happy vibrations can go right through your mirror. But when someone thinks negatively about you and they try to send that negative vibration, bam, it hits right into your mirror, bounces off, reflects right back at them. That, my friends, is how you get revenge by using the law of karma. You protect yourself, but you're not purposefully thinking any negative thoughts to give to that person. You're just preventing their negativity from absorbing into you by saying to yourself, I have this beautiful mirror. I let beautiful, happy vibrations go through. Anything that is not positive is going to reflect off of it back onto whatever source it came from. Pretty cool. For those of you that are like, I don't know what's going on right now, it actually works. It works beautifully. Okay? It's your choice. You can attract abundance or you can attract misery. Nothing in this physical realm that we're living in really is, it's the reality that you make it. So change the reality. It's just the problem is we're all following around like a bunch of little ducks that have been hypnotized. We're just following society around. We're like, quack, quack. This is what I do. She said that my socks don't match, so my socks don't match. What if nobody ever taught you that your socks don't match? Do your socks not match? No, it's a reality that you have made based off of what someone has told you. Why do I call the grass green? Because that's the reality that someone has told me. That color is called green. Everything is a reality. If I don't do this, if I don't go to college, then I won't get a good job. That's a stupid past agreement that someone has put into your head. So yeah, imagining that you have a mirror around you, someone in your past told you that that was stupid. And so you're like, yeah, that's stupid. But I have myself on a different subconscious level. So yes, it works because that is my belief system. So, I had someone the other day because my kid has friends that come over and he's 17 and they see kind of how, what's going on. They walk by the office or one of my kids will tell them about something. And one of my son's friends is just so mouthy. And I just am like, yeah, it's just his age. But he'll say like the snarkiest things to be about my business. You can't really do that. You can't help somebody get rid of he'll say something like, you can't heal somebody's disease. And I'm like, you're right. I can't. I'm not healing your disease. I'm not. I'm balancing your body so you can heal your disease. I'm finding the underlying issue of why your leg hurts. I'm not fixing your leg for you. And he'd just be like, that's so dumb. That's great, dude. You can believe that all you want. I'm not here to force anyone because you can decide to attract abundance or misery yourself. All right. Why do you want to be in this state of understanding karma or laws of the universe? I'm going to tell you a really cool story in a second. I'm going to tell you a really cool story and I can't decide if I should share it or not because I haven't even told Dave yet. Okay. It allows you to receive intuition and impressions. We're going to come back to that one. Helps you feel at peace. When you get to the state where you are focused on all the stuff that I told you about, you just stop worrying about things. I know this because in the past, I have been a chronic obsessive worrier to the point where I can't sleep at night because I am worrying. In fact, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and feeling like I'm having a heart attack. And I would catch myself breathing crazily. I would wake up and I was having a full-blown anxiety attack. And it's all just based off of worry. Wasn't necessarily right that I was dreaming about something, but it's just that I was carrying around so much anxiety and worry that it was manifesting itself when I was sleeping. I couldn't relax and I would wake up having a complete anxiety attack and not a good place to be. What kind of emotional or what kind of physical turmoil do you think that you put yourself in when you were in an emotional, chaotic state like that? Really, really bad. Really bad. Looking back at it, I was trying not to eat hardly anything and I couldn't lose any weight. And I guarantee you that all of it was associated just with the amount of stress hormones that I was carrying around, not being able to even lose a pound. In fact, I was gaining weight when I wasn't eating. It was really weird. I mean, I understand it now, but back then I was like, I don't know what's going on, right? Go to a doctor, take a supplement, whatever, reach for the next magic pill to try to help me with this. So you feel at peace. You can communicate better with other people. Stetson, my oldest, was showing me this video and I was like, man, this guy's grounded. So he goes around and of course he's got, lots of money and he goes around and he's got these race cars that he's got all souped up. So he gets pulled over constantly, but he videotapes the officers. And because of the cool and collected way that he talks to them, he really ruffles their feathers and they get stumbling over their words and they're messing up. But the kid is not being disrespectful at all. He just is saying, he asks questions and the police officers don't know how to respond to him. And so they just like lose their they lose their mind and they start rambling off and they're not doing their job correctly anymore because he has them so frustrated. And then he ends up getting out of his tickets. But this kid or this guy is very emotionally grounded because he can keep his cool and he can talk his way through stuff. And so, being in a spot where you can just communicate better. Now, I'm not saying that's a great example as far as like he's breaking the law or whatever, but it just goes to show you that you can affect your communication when you are grounded yourself. And he's really not even doing anything wrong. He's actually driving cars that just happened to be, the type that the cops pull him over for stuff. And then they try to get him for like silly things that he's like, what? I can't have that. What? Anyway, it's pretty funny. Okay. You attract abundance. Who doesn't want to attract abundance? I caught myself doing that one today. I was worried about something. I was like, how am I going to pay for that? And I was like, I don't care. I don't know. Release. Breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. I don't know. I have no idea how I'm going to pay for it. But I'm not going to focus on it. I'm just going to let it go. It's crazy. It's crazy how it works. You just attract it. It just happens. Physical issues. The ability when you're following all this to release things physically because you're vibrating on a higher level. So you stop having emotions get trapped in your body because you're at a more balanced level. Joy. One of my clients once told me, she's like, I've worked with you and now she's like, we're following up on a session. She's like, I caught myself singing in my car today. She's like, what do you call that? She's like, it's just an emotion that I've never felt or I haven't felt for so long. I'm like, it's called joy. That's a feeling of joy. It had been so long since she felt that she didn't even recognize it anymore. Because realistically, when is the last time that you really honestly felt joy? Maybe when you were 3 before, and some of you not even then because your parents were not great. But when I think of joy, I think of little kids that are running around, they're wearing capes and princess dresses and they're having tea where they call each other names. They love each other. It's like, right around that age of like 4, I think is where before kids start becoming mean to each other based off of what us fantastic adults show them how to be. So there you go. That's a lot to digest, right? But I promise you, if you focus on them, at first it's hard. It's hard. This was a really tough one for me when I got into this line of work is because I am the type of person that I'm like, I'll show you. Don't you want to bring this party here? I'm going to knock your teeth out. Like that's just my fire. So I have to take a step back and be like, no. Stop trying to take karma into your own hands because if you're directing negative energy towards somebody else, even, here's the killer, don't do this, but they deserve it. You can't do that. It's not for you to decide. You do not get to be the karma hander-outer. You let it happen. That is what the law of the universe, that is what the law of karma is about. Don't get in the way because then you're just going to bring it back onto yourself. But I know it's hard. It's hard to not want to stick your hand into that pot because it unfortunately feels good for us because you have something going on in your subconscious mind that you have not healed from that is making you thrive off of wanting to get resentment. You have some kind of unresolved trauma, an unresolved trapped emotion, whatever it may be. You know what? It could even be a pathogen. There's so many things that are going on in our bodies that we don't even know. So I was studying over the weekend about bacterias and I was reading up on mites and I was like, oh my gosh, for the love, if we just, the things that can imbalance you, like a bite from a mite. Do you know how many mites you have hanging out in your house? Or you have an animal that's running around with little cooties that can bite you and they actually affect you and can imbalance your body. So say that I'm really super stressed at work and then I go lay in my bed and I have mites in my pillow. A mite, maybe I'm carrying all that stress like right here in my neck. So my body's wearing out right here. And now I have a lower pH alkaline spot in my neck and then I lay down and then the mites start attacking right here. And then suddenly I'm not even kidding. Suddenly I have a symptom the next day. And then after about a week of this, I go to the doctor and I have now got a full-blown chronic illness. I'm not even kidding that is how this stuff works. But when you get down to it and figure out the simple things that you can do to balance yourself out, then you can get rid of all of this, okay? But following the laws of karma and the laws of the universe will help you to stay in a balanced state. So if you come to me and you're like, I want to release all this stuff, and we work on it, and you're like, I feel so good. You got to be following this, because if you don't, what are you going to do? You're just going to walk right outside my door and fall right into the mud puddle again, right? You have to do your part as well. But releasing all that stuff makes it easier for you to recognize when you're doing that. It makes it easier for you to do it without having any underlying emotions. Okay. All right. So a couple of things before we go tonight. Number one, if you've been on my schedule lately, you will realize that there is nowhere to book anything because it is completely full. I was patiently waiting, hoping that I would be able to know my son's baseball schedule, but this does not appear to be happening. So I'm going to go ahead and open my June schedule up and allow people to book. And then we're just going to be really kind to one another. And we're going to allow Amy to reschedule when needed when she gets her kid's baseball schedule. And you'll be kind and joyful. I am also going to open a couple of limited additional weekend spots for my May. So I'm telling you right now that I will let you know first. If you are interested and you would like to book a session, you should message me right now after we're done here so that I can put you on there before I send out an email letting everyone else know that I'm doing this. So I always offer these spots to my email clients or my email list and my clients that have had sessions with me before. So if you want to be on my email list, you can just message me too, and I'll stick your email on there, but I'll let you know. Usually when I open my schedule, I'll be like, hey, everybody, I just opened my schedule up, and I'm not even kidding. There are times when it takes about 5 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, well, that was very quick, and then it's completely gone. So I just want to let you know, if you're like, I'm super interested in this, how much does this cost? What exactly are you doing? So basically, we're using this beautiful quantum energy, quantum physics energy. Energy has no boundaries. We are doing this over a phone or a video chat, or if you happen to live close to me, you can come sit here in my beautiful recliner, and you're going to give me permission, and I am with intention going to actually connect to your energy, which is so cool. Some people's energy is a lot nicer to connect to than others, but anyways. Then basically I just have the ability to say, okay, like, look, you know what, you have an imbalance in your adrenal gland. This is associated with a food toxin that you ate. And also you have a trapped emotion of when you were 5 of feeling lost. Okay, so we need to get rid of all these, because if we don't, then it's going to continue to make your left leg hurt. And that's how it works. It's so cool. And so with intention, we actually work with your body. I'm basically allowing you the ability to balance yourself using your own energy. And if you're like, I don't have any energy, you probably don't, because you probably have a block in your energy flow. So we can clear that out as well. So these little trapped emotions act like blood clots in your energy system. And so, like, I had someone that was like, I don't receive impressions anymore, and I used to. I'm like, yeah, you probably have a block going on up here in one of your higher level chakras. It's just creating, it's like a dam in a river. Super simple. It's super simple, honestly. But anyways, yes, so I will open up my schedule. It's $45. And you get an hour session with me. If you're like really scared and you're like, I am too scared to do that, you can even do it by email. You can give me permission. I'll connect with you. I do this all the time because that's how I work on animals. Yes, we can work on animals too. You can actually work on, like, my water heater boiler has been popping off, so I'm working on it energetically. You can work on anything. Everything has energy. Everything has energy. It's totally measurable. Okay. All right, guys. Man, there is a storm rolling across the mountains. It's really cool. I hope you have a beautiful night. Thank you for hopping on here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. I'm going to send you, with beautiful intention, I'm going to send you lots of positive vibes for the rest of your week. And yeah, thanks for joining. See you later.